All right, so it's very clear to me some people are not necessarily watching the videos because of how you guys answer the questions, and we'll talk about that. So again, the last 3 weeks we've been finishing up this unit. Here we're gonna finish it, okay? It's gonna be all done. So make sure you try that review on your own. Watch these reviews. The IXL is great practice to prepare for your test, and then we've got our test. Again, next week, it's not shared yet. Next week, it's a short week. I'll probably share it this afternoon. That way, if you want to get a jump start on it, but it's only going to be one lesson. So, again, it's going to be one lesson and then get caught up on everything else. And then I'll just share that right now. So, again, for those of you that like to work ahead, or again, since it's a short week, maybe you're going on vacation, I'll share that with you guys right now so that you can look at it. Okay, I gotta grab my notebook, so make sure you've got something to write with and a pen and a piece of paper or something to jot some stuff down, and then we will get into our review. All right. It turns out I am actually missing the adapter that connects my iPad to my computer. So I'm gonna try one other thing to see if I can get that. Otherwise, we will troubleshoot from there. Let's see if I can join WebEx from my iPad. I believe is all right. LARS. Let's see here. Other than that, let's just type in the chat how we're doing today. If there's any updates, are you going anywhere for MEA break? What do you think of this? It's starting to be like really fall weather, I'd say. It was being really nice. Now it's starting to get cold again. Anybody got any comments on that? Nice. Okay, so we some got no plans. Jacob, I know you're always busy with hockey. That sounds good. That's probably starting up right now, huh? Starting to have practices. When's your first game?
We had our first game Monday. We have another game Saturday. So,
Wow. All right. So yeah, full on hockey season. I think the
yep.
Wild have started too, right?
Uh, the preseason games. Our first game is I want to say the 15th.
Okay. Yeah, I know I'd seen something about it. I couldn't remember exactly what it was. All right, let's see if this works. Of course. A sleepover. Oh, that sounds like fun. Okay. So what we were gonna talk about was again dealing with inequalities. And inequalities kind of act like equal signs sometimes, but sometimes they have slightly different rules. All right, let me just see. Am I able to jump in here? Oh, nice. All right. All right, can you guys hear me? Awesome. All right. So I'm going to do is try and share my screen from my iPad, and then hopefully everything will be good to go. And we want to share Notability. Share content or camera. Whiteboard. Let's use that. Sweet. All right. So when we add or subtract, so again, inequalities mean that we'd use some of these symbols. Again, apologize for that slight delay, but we're back on track. So these are inequality signs. Again, this is the less than. The difference here, and again, you want to notice is that, hey, this one here has an equal sign underneath it. And this line right here means that it's going to be equal to itself. And then so when we add or subtract these, so when we solve these, when we try to solve these, we treat them just like we would an equal sign. So let's say that we have x minus 7 equals 2. If I were to solve this, I'd separate my left and my right, and I would add it like this, and I'd get x is equal to 9. Well, inequalities work the exact same way, okay? X minus 7 is less than or equal to 2. We really do the exact same thing. We just keep the inequality sign the same. In 9. So anytime that you're adding or subtracting, the rule is going to be exactly the same. Let's see here. Can I get another one? All right, we'll just erase it. However, when I multiply or divide, that's when things get different. Okay? When I multiply or divide, that's when stuff changes. So addition / subtraction, the rules are the same. Ugh. Why is it doing that? Multiplying and dividing, there's one extra step, and we got to make sure that we follow along, or we're going to make some silly mistakes. And those rules work like this. If I have to multiply or divide something, so let's do 2 examples. T divided by 4 is less than or equal to 2. And then let's do T divided by negative 4 is less than or equal to 2. So the difference works like this. Again, if my goal is to get T by itself, what do I have to do? I got to multiply the top and the bottom by 4. So if I multiply the left side by 4, I'm also going to multiply the right side by 4. And this is going to give me, cancels out, T is less than or equal to 8. But when I look over here and I see, hey, in order for me to cancel this one out, I have to actually multiply by not positive 4, I have to multiply by negative 4. And so when I multiply the left side and the right side by negative 4, this is still going to cancel out. I'm going to be left with T, but because I brought this negative over, okay, because I brought this negative right here and I brought it over here, I have to flip my inequality sign. I don't like it that it does that. I got to flip my inequality sign. So I'm going to say T is greater than or equal to negative 8. Flip. So the difference, or what is new, what's extra special when we do these types of problems, is that if that negative sign moves from one side to the other, we have to flip our inequality sign. Now I want to talk about graphing because there's been some silly graphing mistakes on some of our assignments. So again, if I were to draw a number line, let's put negative 8 in the middle, negative 7, negative 6, negative 9, and negative 10. I'm looking at T is greater than negative 8. So t is greater than or equal to -8 means that I'm going to use a closed circle. So if it has this line underneath, okay, if it has this line underneath, you need to use a closed circle. And then because t is bigger, it's eating that -8. I'm going, or it's eating the t. I need to open up to the numbers that are bigger than -8, like -7 or -6, or all the positives. All the positives are going to be bigger than all the negatives. If I looked at the other example over here, this is just t is less than or equal to 8. Again, if I drew a number line, 8, 9, 10, 7, 6. Because let's pretend like it didn't have this line right here. If it did not have that line, I would use an open circle. Okay. Open circle is for when we do not have the line underneath. It cannot equal that number. And then because t is smaller than, I need to point my arrow at all the smaller numbers. All the smaller numbers. So any number that's smaller than 8, 7, 0, -2 could be a possible solution for this problem. Okay? It could be a possible solution for this problem. So our rules, again, and this is what I'd want you to make sure you had written down, is for multiplication and division, we flip our inequality when it is flip inequality when we move that negative sign, when we multiply or divide by a negative. Okay. Now I'm going to give you some practice time, but I got one other example that I want to talk about real quick before we jump into it, and just comparing these two. So one of these we're going to flip our inequality sign, and one we're not. And I want you guys to tell me which one it is. So this one is going to be 2x is less than -4. And this one, let's get a different color here. Let's call number 2 -2x is less than +4. So type in the chat, do we move number 1's equation? Do we flip that sign, or do we move number 2's equation? Okay, I got 2 answers, 3, 4. Okay, looks like everybody's saying number 2 so far. I would agree, because if we look closely at these, we say, hey, I'm actually only dividing by +2. I'm not dividing by a negative. Versus over here, I'm dividing by a -2, which causes me to flip my sign. So super, super important that we remember there's an extra rule, okay? There's an extra rule with inequalities that's a little bit different than just solving equations. Awesome. Let's see if I can. No, I do not want to save that. I want to stop sharing. Let's just leave the meeting.
You're muted.
Thank you, Addie. I was going to say we got a little bit of a slow start, so let's do about 4 minutes of practice. The link is in the chat. The link is in the chat. Go ahead, take a look at that, and then at about 9:22, we'll recap and talk about what we need to do next. All right, I got 3 people in the chat. Let's click that link and jump to it. For those of you watching the recording, please try these problems on your own by looking at it, pausing the recording, and then continuing on. If you get a 2-step problem, don't necessarily worry about the 2-step problem. Okay, you will not be asked about that on your test. Otherwise, let's go about 30 more seconds and wrap up. If you don't finish, that's totally okay. Again, I know we got a little bit of a slow start due to some technology glitches. All right, let's go ahead and wrap up. Again, just wanted to give some practice. You've got, hopefully, we've seen this kind of the last 2 weeks. So hopefully we've gotten a chance to, try these out. Really, the big thing is remembering that special rule between multiplying and dividing. When do I flip my inequality versus when do I keep it the same? And then understanding, figure out how to make that thing stop. Every time I change the screen, the music starts again. Okay. Let's go to our Class Connect assignment. So again, you can always find these. There's a folder for it right here in the Class Connects assignments folder. I'm going to publish the assignment. Again, for those of you that are in person right now, this is how you can show me you were paying attention. For those of you watching the recording, this is how you will show me you watched the recording and you get credit for it. So match the inequality to the following graph. Okay. It looks like y divided by -2. So here again is that special rule. I'm going to be dividing by this is dividing by a negative. So to undo division, I need to multiply. So I'm going to multiply the left side and the right side by -2 so that it cancels out. So I'm left with y is, because I multiplied by a negative, because I moved that negative, I got to flip it over. So y is less than, and a negative times a positive is -6. So I'm going to say that y is less than or equal to -6. Remember, if it has that line underneath, you need to use a closed circle. So I can automatically eliminate 2 of these. And I know that it's got to be on -6, which is one of these two. And because y is less than, I flipped my sign. I need to use the first one here. And then when I look at the second problem, 2y is less than -10. To get y by itself here, I need to divide by +2. So because I'm dividing by a positive, I do not flip the sign. So this is saying 2y divided by 2 cancels out. -10 divided by 2 is -5. So y is less than -5, and that's going to be this answer all the way here on the right, okay? Open circle at -5. No, that is incorrect, Mr. Larson. It is an opening to the left. Okay, so this is not correct. We need an open circle, but because y is less than, the arrow needs to be pointing left. So I'm going to use this one. Y is less than -5. Okay. That's all I've got for you. Again, short week tomorrow, next week, no class connect next week. Only 2 days of school. Woohoo! All right, good luck. Make sure you review before you take your test. Good luck on your test, and I'll see you in a couple weeks.
Thank you. Have a great rest of your day.
Bye. Good luck in hockey.
Thanks. Bye.